What is going on, guys? Today I want to talk about where I'm looking at investing my first $1,000, and I wanted to answer some of the questions that I believe a lot of the newbies to the investing world, including myself, have. Now, this technically isn't my first $1,000. I lost that, but I talked about that all in my last video, so if you want to check that out, I'll put the link in the description. Now, I'm sure if you spend any time on social media or just socialize in general, it's come up in a conversation, about investing and what some of the other people are doing out there and that kind of thing. If not, welcome to your first conversation. But to start, I don't want to bore you with the why, generational wealth, financial freedom, etc., etc. I think most people understand the why it's important to be investing, but it's more the where or when and how. So those are some of the questions that I hopefully want to answer for you today. And of course, how much? So let's get the easy one out the way. When? Now. Yes, literally now. Go take your wallet, spend all your savings. No, I'm joking, don't do that. But in all seriousness, guys, you want to be starting as soon as you can. This is a waiting game. We're not day trading, so the longer you wait to start with this, the longer it's going to be before you start to reap the rewards. And on that note, guys, if something seems too good to be true, trust me, I know, it probably is. Which brings us to how much you should be investing. Now, this is going to depend on everyone's financial situation, but you mustn't think because you don't have thousands to invest that you are not able to at least start. That's been a misconception for many years, where people have thought you need thousands of dollars and only the elite and rich can invest. That's simply not the case. For example, my situation, I have roughly about $1,400 saved that I want to now put into 2 different investments. And I'll be talking about that later in the video. But your personal situation might be different. So if you are only able to start with $250, that's fine. Just get started. If you're able to do more, that's great. Just remember that you don't want to be investing money that you need for survival. Whatever you're investing in, it's always going to be a risk, no matter how great or small. So you do not want to be using funds that you require to literally eat and feed your family or whatever it is. And the aim is, of course, to put more towards these investments in future. And that's why I'm looking at all these different income streams and focusing a lot on passive income streams, because I want to take that money and invest it, because I know 10, 20, 30 years down the line, I'm going to be so thankful that I just started with it now. Okay, great. So you know when to invest, you know how much you can invest, but where do you invest it? You've probably seen there are thousands of options, and a lot of them are completely viable, and you could argue something for each one. So I just want to go through some of the options that I'm looking at, and hopefully it sheds some light as to why I'm looking at that and helps you decide on where you want to invest. So one of the first things for me, and I believe a lot of you should be looking at initially, is ETFs. Now, I'm not going to go into specific ETFs or really go in depth into what an ETF is. I'll do a separate video on that and the other options that I'm going to explain, where I'll go into exactly how to purchase them, safely, and store them if you're working with a crypto or something like that. But it's just too much for this video. But an ETF basically is just a group of companies, and you are buying a small fraction of that company, so your risk is very spread. Obviously you still get more high risk and lower risk investments, and the returns differ on that, but again, we will go all over that in another video. But an ETF, it's something that is almost guaranteed to grow. I mean, if you pick the right ones, they are companies that are kind of set for the future. And it's a long-term game. It's not a, get rich quick thing or anything like that. You're in it for the long haul. And the next option I'm looking at initially is crypto, Bitcoin specifically. Even though I just came out of a scam from Bitcoin, I really believe that crypto and Bitcoin specifically is going to be huge in the future. I mean, we've already seen it, and you've probably heard the news over the last weeks about the growth of Bitcoin. And that's because we're seeing a lot of major companies start to purchase or use or integrate their systems with Bitcoin. And it's just going to, it's kind of a snowball effect, and that snowball has started. Now, we are 9 times out of 10 gonna see a crash. I've seen, some experts say they expect it to crash no more than 30%, but after that, we're gonna see it climb and climb and climb. It's just booming. The thing with crypto though is it's like investing on another level. It's quite a roller coaster ride, so you need to have the right mindset. Just because the market's dipping, you mustn't go straight to sell or get cold feet. You need to try sticking for the long game. And that's what I think a lot of people struggle with, is as soon as they see the market dipping, they want to pull out, and then they miss the chance on the way up. So you need to be able to go in with the right mindset and control yourself not to sell when the markets are having those dips. And just remember guys, anything you're getting into, you want to make sure you are 100% comfortable with putting your money in that. Don't just invest into something because someone's told you, or a best friend or a family or whatever. Do your own research. And initially I found it easy to go into a market that interests me. So tech companies and like AI and that kind of stuff, that interests me. So when I'm reading up on these companies and trying to do my own research, I'm not fighting myself the whole time, because I actually have an interest in the matter, in the subject. So that just a quick tip that might help you, at least initially. Obviously you want to broaden your scope of things and you want to look at different markets and all of that, but that requires a lot of time and research. So initially you want to just make sure you maybe have an interest in the market before you dive into it. But that is all for today guys. Don't worry, I will be doing my next videos going in depth into ETFs and Bitcoin, to just explain a bit more about what they are, how to purchase them, how to do it safely, how to store your Bitcoin, that kind of thing. So those will be my next videos. But until then, stay safe guys.